In the dead of night, on a lonely London lane in 1837, a servant girl named Mary Stevens was walking home. Suddenly, a strange figure leaped from a dark alley, grabbing her with ice-cold, claw-like hands. He tore at her clothes and kissed her face, his touch like metal. Mary's terrified scream sent the attacker fleeing, leaping over a high wall and disappearing into the darkness. This was the world's first introduction to a creature that would haunt Victorian England for decades. Spring-heeled Jack. Who was he? Or what was he? The descriptions were bizarre and terrifying. Witnesses claimed he had a frightening appearance, with glowing red eyes, a demonic face, and wore a tight-fitting oilskin suit or a black cloak. He was said to have sharp, metallic claws on his hands and could breathe out blue and white flames. But his most defining feature was his incredible ability to leap. He could jump over houses, walls, and carriages with a single bound, as if powered by hidden springs in his heels, hence the name. Just a day after the attack on Mary Stevens, the mysterious figure struck again. He leaped in front of a passing carriage, causing the coachman to lose control and crash, severely injuring himself. Witnesses saw Jack escape by jumping over a 9-foot-high wall, all while letting out a high-pitched, ringing laugh that chilled them to the bone. The story spread like wildfire. Was it a ghost? A demon? A prankster with an incredible athletic ability? London was buzzing with fear and speculation. The legend of Spring-heeled Jack truly took hold in early 1838 with the cases of Jane Alsop and Lucy Scales. One February night, someone knocked on the door of the Alsop family home. When Jane opened it, she saw a man claiming to be a policeman who said he decaught Spring-heeled Jack in the lane. He asked her to bring a light, but when she returned with a candle, the man revealed his true form. He threw off his cloak to show a hideous appearance. He then grabbed Jane and began tearing at her dress with his claws. He spat blue flames in her face, and her family had to rush to her aid, pulling her back inside just as the attacker fled. Just a few days later, Lucy Scales and her sister were walking home when a figure leaped from a passageway. He breathed a column of blue fire directly into Lucy's face, causing her to collapse into violent fits that reportedly lasted for hours. Her brother, who was nearby, said the attacker was tall and gentlemanly in appearance, carrying a small lamp. He didn't touch her, but the terrifying assault left its mark. These two high-profile attacks caused mass hysteria. The Lord Mayor of London, Sir John Cohen, made the case public, revealing he had received a stack of letters from concerned citizens about a supposed prankster. The news hit the papers, and soon, all of London was on high alert. Vigilante groups formed, armed with guns and clubs, hoping to catch the creature. But Jack was always one step ahead, his superhuman agility making him impossible to capture. The panic wasn't confined to London. Sightings of Spring-heeled Jack began popping up all over England, from Sheffield to Liverpool. He was seen on rooftops, in church bell towers, and leaping across fields. In one famous incident, he was said to have harassed army sentries at a barracks in Aldershot. A soldier on duty claimed a figure jumped onto his sentry box, slapping his face with a cold hand. Guards fired at him, but the bullets seemed to have no effect. The figure simply bounded away into the darkness, laughing. The reign of terror continued for years, but the nature of the sightings began to change. Was it one person? Or had the legend grown so large that copycats were now carrying out their own pranks? The original sightings were malicious and violent, but later ones seemed more like mischievous stunts. The lines between fact, fiction, and mass hysteria were becoming increasingly blurred. So, what was the truth behind this terrifying phantom? Over the years, countless theories have been proposed, each trying to explain the unexplainable. The most popular theory at the time was that Spring-heeled Jack was simply a human, or a group of humans, playing a cruel and elaborate prank. The finger of suspicion often pointed towards the aristocracy. The idea was that bored, wealthy noblemen had the time, money, and resources to create a costume and a device for jumping. One name that came up frequently was Henry de la Poer Beresford, the Marquis of Waterford. Known as the Mad Marquis, he was a notorious troublemaker famous for his wild bets, vandalism, and brawling. He had a reputation for enjoying others' fear and had the athletic prowess to pull off such stunts. Could a bored aristocrat with a dark sense of humor be the man behind the mask? Many people thought so, and after he married and settled down, the attacks seemed to decrease, adding weight to the theory. However, there's no concrete evidence linking him to the crimes, and he died in 1859, yet sightings of Jack continued for decades. Another theory suggests it was all a case of mass hysteria. The Victorian era was a time of rapid industrialization and social change. Cities were overcrowded, smog-filled, and crime-ridden. The urban poor lived in constant fear. Perhaps Spring-Heeled Jack was a manifestation of these anxieties, a bogeyman born from the collective imagination of a stressed and superstitious populace. A single strange story, embellished by gossip and sensationalist newspapers, could have snowballed into a nationwide panic. People saw what they expected to see in the shadows. But what about the more fantastical elements? The glowing eyes, the fiery breath, the incredible leaps? This leads us to more fringe theories. Some have suggested that Spring-Heeled Jack was an extraterrestrial visitor, an alien stranded on Earth whose strange appearance and advanced technology, like jet-powered boots, were misinterpreted as supernatural abilities by the people of the 19th century. His metallic claws could have been part of his suit or his natural anatomy. His fiery breath could have been a weapon or a byproduct of his biology. It sounds like science fiction, but for those who believe the stories of his abilities are true, an otherworldly explanation is one of the few that fits. Then there's the supernatural explanation. Was Spring-Heeled Jack a demon or some other entity from another dimension? The demonic face, the claws, the sulphurous breath, these all align with classic depictions of devils and imps. In a deeply religious society like Victorian England, it's no surprise that many people believe they were dealing with a genuine evil from hell. His ability to appear and disappear, to defy bullets and gravity, certainly lends itself to a paranormal interpretation. Could he have been a harbinger of doom, a physical manifestation of evil preying on the streets of London? Of course, we can't ignore the possibility of exaggeration. Imagine a lone woman walking down a dark alley. A figure jumps out. She screams and runs. By the time she tells the story to the police, and the police tell the newspapers, and the newspapers sell the story to the public, the man has become a monster. The jump becomes a superhuman leap. A glint in his eye becomes a demonic glow. A puff of cigar smoke becomes a gout of blue flame. Over time, the legend became far more spectacular than the reality. It's likely a combination of all these things, a real prankster, or several, whose exploits were magnified by mass panic and a hungry press, creating a legend far bigger than any single person. The impact of Spring-Heeled Jack on Victorian culture was immense. He wasn't just a news story, he became a full-blown pop culture phenomenon. He was the subject of countless penny dreadfuls, cheap, sensationalist booklets that were the Victorian equivalent of a modern-day thriller. In these stories, Jack was often transformed from a villain into a swashbuckling anti-hero, a nobleman by day who donned a costume at night to fight injustice, like a proto-Batman or Zorro. He also leaped onto the stage. Theatres across London put on plays featuring the character, often portraying him in a comedic or heroic light. These shows were hugely popular, blending horror, action, and spectacle. The character of Spring-Heeled Jack, with his dramatic costume and incredible abilities, was perfect for the theatricality of the Victorian stage. He was terrifying, but he was also exciting. This cultural absorption had a strange effect. It both cemented his place in folklore and, at the same time, made him seem less real. He became a character, a piece of entertainment. This might be why later sightings were often dismissed as pranks or copycats trying to imitate the famous figure from the stories. He had transitioned from a real-world terror to a fictional icon. The figure of a mysterious, agile figure moving across the rooftops of a dark, industrial city clearly left a mark on our collective imagination. Many cultural historians believe that the legend of Spring-Heeled Jack was a direct inspiration for the first superheroes that emerged in the early 20th century. A masked avenger with extraordinary physical abilities, operating outside the law, the parallels are hard to ignore. Even today, Spring-Heeled Jack continues to inspire writers, artists, and filmmakers. He appears in comic books, novels, and television shows, a testament to the enduring power of his story. He represents a fascinating intersection of urban legend, social history, and the birth of popular culture. He was a monster born from the anxieties of a specific time and place, but his legend has proven to be timeless. The final confirmed sightings of Spring-Heeled Jack occurred around 1904 in Liverpool. He was seen leaping between rooftops, alarming residents. After this, the reports simply stopped. The mysterious phantom who had terrorized and fascinated England for nearly 70 years vanished as suddenly as he had first appeared. So what happened? Did he die? Did he finally give up his strange hobby? If it was one man, perhaps old age simply caught up with him. If it was a group or a succession of people, maybe the prank just fell out of fashion. As the Victorian era gave way to the Edwardian, and the world lurched towards the First World War, society changed. The gaslit world of dark alleys and penny dreadfuls was fading, replaced by electricity, new technologies, and new fears. The disappearance of Spring-Heel Jack is as mysterious as his origins. There was no final capture, no deathbed confession, no unmasking. He simply faded back into the shadows from whence he came, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions. Did he ever truly exist? Was he a man, a myth, or something else entirely? Some argue that he never really left. Every now and then, a strange story will surface, a report of a bizarre, leaping figure seen in the dead of night. Are these just echoes of an old legend, or is it possible that the spring-heeled terror is still out there, waiting for the right moment to leap back into our world? The story of Spring-Heel Jack is a perfect mystery. It has no neat conclusion, no simple answer. It forces us to confront the boundary between reality and imagination, between history and folklore. He remains one of the most compelling and chilling unsolved cases of all time, a demonic phantom leaping through the pages of history, forever just out of reach. Thanks for watching our deep dive into this incredible mystery. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what you think Spring-Heeled Jack really was. See you next time.